Okay, welcome back to Trucking the Seven Seas. This is episode number 42, and in this episode, we're going to go over week 11 of the Night Transportation Lease Operator Program. We have a short week due to maintenance, and because of that, the paycheck is going to suffer a little bit, but that's okay. If you are new to this channel, welcome. I started this channel in order to show exactly what truck drivers make. We started as a company driver working for night transportation, and now we moved on to a lease operator. I show all of the loads I take, what the revenue is, what the expenses were, and what my net cash flow was, and I compile all of this information and I put it into a spreadsheet that I share with you at the end of every video. So if this is a topic that interests you, follow the channel. But last episode we left off in Tucson, Arizona, so we grabbed a load in Tucson, Arizona, and we're headed to Phoenix, Arizona. So let's go. Okay, so we got the truck out of maintenance, and then once we get out of maintenance, we then got dispatched on a load, picking up at a Sam's Club in Buckeye, Arizona, and then we're dropping it at a Sam's Club in Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's go. Okay, so we dropped the load out in Las Vegas, Nevada. Then we got dispatched on another one, picking up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and headed to Paris, California. Let's go. Okay, so we dropped the load out in Paris, California, then got dispatched on another one, picking up in Paris, California, and headed to Sumner, Washington. Let's go. Okay, so after the Sumner, Washington load, we got dispatched on another one picking up in Pasco, Washington, and headed to Tracy, California. However, that load is not going to make the paycheck, so it's spreadsheet time. For week 12, we did 3 loads, and in those 3 loads, we got 1,782 miles. We were paid a total of $3,039 for an average of $1.71 per mile. We fueled up 2 times, and in those 2 times we paid $799 for an average of 45 cents per mile. Other expenses: fuel tax $612, MRP $89, Qualcomm $13, Bobtail $692, physical damage $69, occupational accident policy $34, permits $42, pre-pass $350, truck payment $450, scales $27, fuel mile tax $53, lease security deposit $100, and a fuel tax refund of $250 for $1,251, or an average of 70 cents per mile. Weekly totals: so expenses were $2,050 for an average of $1.15 per mile. Revenue was $3,039 for an average of $1.71 per mile. That brings our net settlement to $989 for an average of 56 cents per mile. Total since starting the program: we've driven a total of 26,608 miles, and we spent a total of $27,339 for an average of $1.03 per mile, and that is my cost per mile right there. Total revenue was $46,013 for an average of $1.73 per mile. Net cash flow was $18,673 for an average of 70 cents per mile. If I had been a company driver making 54 cents per mile, I would have made $14,368. And if I had been an owner-operator who owned his own truck outright, I would have made $24,173 for an average of $1.71 per mile. Averages and other information: weekly paycheck has been $1,556. We are averaging 2,217 miles per week. Total fuel costs are $14,806 for an average of 56 cents per mile. Total maintenance costs were $1,988 for an average of 7 cents per mile. If we kept this up for a 52-week period, we'd make $80,920 and drive a total of 115,301 miles. We've been employed 84 days, or 12 weeks, taken 12 days off, 72 days on duty, taken 48 total loads, and the average load length is 554 miles. Alright, moving on to the volatility graph. This just shows weekly volatility of a company driver versus a lease driver. Company's blue, red is lease, and you can see every weekly paycheck, and you can see how much more volatile the lease operator makes versus a company driver. Company driver is a little more stable, whereas lease driver tends to be a lot more volatile, especially during this week right here. And from one week to another, there were about 4 weeks, actually 5, including this one, where I would have made more as a company driver than a lease driver, but the overall has been higher as a lease driver. So this just shows weekly volatility and weekly paycheck of a company versus a lease driver. Right. And total company pay versus total lease pay. This is total company and lease pay in aggregate. So it just shows the weekly pay in aggregate every week, and it just allows us to compare the company pay over time versus the lease pay over time. As a lease operator, I have been making more money than a company driver, and stayed pretty consistent recently. As you can see right here, making still more than a company driver, but it's somewhat, it's almost parallel at this point, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, so this just shows company pay versus lease pay in aggregate. And the last data point right here is also this number right here. So as a lease operator, I made $18,673, and as a company driver, I would have made $14,368, which is the last data point right there. So just more information for you guys. So far, I am making more money than a company driver. Okay, a few notes here. Fuel expense was very low this week. I only fueled up twice for 45 cents per mile. That's not normal, so that's very low right here. We also had very low mileage, so the maintenance that I did the week before kind of creeped its way into this paycheck as well. So a couple of the days I was in maintenance were on this paycheck, so that's why, the mileage is pretty low. We did have this fuel tax right here, so we got a charge for a fuel tax for last month, and then we got a refund for last month. I'll be honest, the whole fuel tax thing is very complicated. It's like IFTA, where if you drive in high tax fuel states, but then you don't pay high taxes because of the places you fueled up, it screws everything up, and they keep track of it, and then at the end of the quarter or the month or whenever, they give you a refund or they charge you based on how much taxes you did or did not pay. It's very complicated, and I don't fully understand it because it's taxes, and the IRS makes things very complicated. And yeah, so anyways, I got charged and then I got a refund but the charge was way more than the refund, so that it certainly cost me quite a bit there, about $350. So just a note there, that also hurt this paycheck as well. The B service still haven't, it still hasn't hit. I don't know if it will hit, because I was thinking about that, and those things should be covered. So it's quite possible that that won't even hit because it was covered under the contract. So a B service, I may not even have to pay for it, now that I'm thinking about it. But didn't hit this week, and I'll keep you updated as to when and if it hits. And I added another little small number here. So I was thinking about this, and the lease security deposit is, part of this cash flow right here, so it's integrated in. But the security deposit I should be getting back, especially since I'm intending to buy the truck. So I thought it would be useful to show you what you would make what I was making if I didn't pay the security deposit, and it's a little bit significant. So if you minus the lease security deposit, which is like $1,900 as of this week, my pay goes up to 77 cents per mile. So thought that was relevant. It's quite a jump there, about 7 cents per mile. That's not nothing. So without the lease security deposit, the rate per mile, my net cash flow per mile, if you will, goes up to 77 cents per mile. And I think it's fair to count that or not count that. I'll continue not counting it in this number, but I thought I should put it right there as well, that if you minus the lease security deposit, you make an extra 7 cents per mile. And I thought that was worth noting. So that's what that is right there. So 77 cents per mile without the security deposit integrated in. Okay, yeah, so there is week 12. Pretty short week, pretty not great week. So only $989, 56 cents per mile, and 1,700 miles. That's not great at all, but that's what happens when you bring your truck in for maintenance. So yeah, this next coming up week should be a little bit better than this, and I shouldn't have this kind of large charge for a fuel tax as well. So that's what's going on there. Still working on the loan for the truck, so working on that. No real updates. I've already applied to a few different places, and the first one, they didn't deal with West Coast loans, which was odd. They were like an East Coast company, I guess, but I searched them on the internet, and that's where I got them. And then the other two, still working on them, and keep you updated. There's no offer yet. I don't know what the interest rate's going to be. It's probably going to be pretty high. So we'll see what happens there, because interest rates are just really high right now. So we'll see what happens. But no real update. Still working on it, and I'll keep everyone posted and let you guys know. But looking to buy the truck. But that will do for this episode. If you are interested in truck driving, there's a link in the comment section down below. Just click that link, fill out your information, and a driver recruiter will get a hold of you. And if you are interested in this spreadsheet or any of the other spreadsheets I've done in the past, they are available in the About section. You can click on them, download them, use them however you want, view them, and feel free to do so. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.